Hi, this is Anand Sharma from CXOTV.news, a flagship brand under the umbrella of Techplus Media Group. A warm hello and welcome to everybody. This is the third year of our webinar series titled Marketing Mondays. We have been touching upon various topics of interest to the marketing fraternity, and you can watch all the past events on demand at www.cxotv.news. Well, we have another interesting topic today, a very simple one, seemingly, a day in the life of a marketing head. Marketing role is a very challenging or demanding because the ownership of brand image of the company rests with a marketeer. Not only that, how to position the company, how to reach the target customer segment, how to enable sales to sell more, and there are many more such how-tos in the list of a marketing head. The role has been going through transformation recently with changing demands. Earlier from COVID, and then the Russia-Ukraine pressure on the economy. There were cost pressures, resourcing and layoffs, changing dynamics, VUCA challenges, and whatnot. The change in marketing heads' focus areas will have a direct impact on his or her function, and that certainly means the marketing team as a whole. Well, let's see how the role has already changed and how it is going to change in the future. We have an eminent panel today to guide us as to how to embrace and prepare for this change. We have Mr. Sukhpreet Singh, Corporate Head of Marketing, Dish TV India Limited. We have Mr. Suyash Dubey, Marketing Director at CoreStack. And we have Mr. Pramod Pratap, Director of Marketing, Healthcare and Life Sciences Practice at Infosys. Let me request the panelists to do a self-introduction, a quick one perhaps. So Sukhpreet, should we start with you?
Yeah, sure. Why not? So just to quickly, tell you about myself. So I've been working for around 25 years now. So mostly it has been in consumer-oriented brands. So I have done the entire gamut from, products to consumer technology services. So starting off from FMCG with brands like Dabur and Gillette, to durables like Samsung, Whirlpool, and to now working with Dish TV with the digital TV and the OTT products. So spanning from physical products to really intangible services and pure entertainment. So that's the entire gamut of consumer products and services, I would say. But it's been a great journey. So that's in short what I've done so far.
Great. Thank you, Sukhpreet. Suyash, do you want to go next?
Yes, why not? Thank you. I have been in the IT marketing industry for the last 17, 18 years. And I mean, in a way, it was not designed, but it just happened so that I've been in IT B2B SaaS mostly. And I've worked with organizations like Microsoft, SAP, Dassault. And for the last 5-6 years, I've been working with startups. Right from the technology of RPA to cloud governance now. So that is where I am.
Great. Thanks, Suyash. Thanks. Pramod, over to you.
Thanks, Anand. This is Pramod Pratap. I've been an IT marketer almost all my professional career. I've had stints across many of the IT brands, including Dell, Satyam, Tech Mahindra, and in my current role at Infosys, I drive marketing for two verticals, namely the healthcare and life sciences. I've been here in Infosys for almost 10 to 12 years. I've had multiple roles in multiple departments, including driving digital marketing, product marketing, corporate marketing, and right now I'm in the vertical alignment business.
Great. I'm delighted and honored to have all of you on the panel. Well, let's begin with the standard disclaimer. The thoughts exchanged on this platform are by the panelists are their own and may not represent or subscribe to the organization they work with. Thank you once again, Pramod, Suyash, and Sukhpreet. Let me start with Sukhpreet. Sukhpreet, how do you define the role of a marketing head?
Yeah, okay. I think end of the day, generating business for the company is the role of the marketing head. Of course, it is the role of everyone in the company. But like we used to say, there used to be a pretty famous magazine of marketing earlier. I think it discontinued now. But the slugline of that was that marketing is business. So I would not define marketing, the role of marketing head in any other way, because if there is any deviation from this thought, then marketing kind of becomes redundant. So having seen the days of hardcore consumer brands in FMCG and all, sometimes marketing is misconstrued as communication or advertising, or let's say a spend center rather than a profit or a business center. That is not the definition of marketing. Anybody who has been doing marketing will kind of corroborate that. So in my view, role of marketing is to drive the business and drive the business in a sustainable manner, so that it is not about pumping in resources to do some short-term business, but it is to see that in the next foreseeable future, which of course the length of foreseeable futures have come down from 20 years to now probably 18 to 20 months. So at least, you should be able to do things in a way that they are sustainable for the next few years and not short term. That's the way I would define the role of marketing. And of course, it is also that, the markets and the consumers and the technologies are changing so fast that the role of marketing also becomes that how do you reorient the business and the outreach to your customers with the changing technologies and mediums and the modes of communication.
Absolutely. Anything that you wish to add, Pramod or Suyash, to what Sukhpreet just mentioned?
Sure. I mean, as I said, for me, as I think Sukhpreet rightly mentioned, marketing has gone beyond a core communication exercise, which actually started off initially there. Right now, marketing is all encompassing, which has two impacts, both at the brand side as a business impact. If you're a marketer, you are expected and to coordinate and drive a lot of these channels across. And at the end of the day, the bottom line is not just showing the impact on the brand, but also on the business side. And I think increasingly with the way the landscape that's changing, CMOs are increasingly driving a lot of value change and businesses across with the digital businesses that's coming, with the sales getting integrated largely into the marketing roles. And I think it's no better time now to be in marketing than ever, with added responsibility and challenges, of course, that go with it.
Sure. So coming to you. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sorry. So I was about to say that both Sukhpreet and Pramod subscribe to their ideas. Marketing is about growth. It cannot be seen as a function of expense. The moment organizations start seeing that, what happens is that there is a major problem with that organization. So marketing is growth, and a CMO's role is to manage that growth, both in short term and for a long-term perspective. And at the same time, build brand, at the same time, manage teams, at the same time, manage numbers. So, the role of marketer has changed over a period of last, 10, 15 years from what it was. I mean, earlier it was you would just get budgets and you were supposed to sustain what was going on. Now, if the growth is, below a certain number, then you are questioned as much as a sales leader would be questioned, right? Absolutely. So that is where we are. Yeah.
Absolutely. Suyash, coming to my next question to you, how do you see the role evolving in light of the recent developments, whatever is happening in the market? We have a breaking news coming every day.
I mean, see, we were all expecting this. Most of us, we knew that a market correction would take place somewhere down the line. We are expected to do more with less. We have to be innovative. At the same time, as a CMO and those of us who have people and teams working under them, our job is to manage the morale of the team. Like I said, the first point is to maintain growth no matter what, right? The show must go on. Do more with less, maintain morale, ensure that the team is skilled and mentored in the right manner. Why it is important is that, they may be here today, they may be somewhere else tomorrow, but that skill part remains with them for the rest of their lives. So that's there. And I believe that as we move forward towards, in the next 12 to 24 months, when things will begin to look a little brighter than they are right now, things would change drastically, but the role of CMO would still be under a lot of pressure, right? We would still be asked to deliver numbers. We would still be expected to give, one big idea for the quarter or, for the year. There would still be questions around how do we maintain the long-term growth versus the short-term achievement. So all these things would still go on.
Sure. Any additions to this, Sukhpreet, Pramod?
No, I think absolutely in sync with that. So just to give you example of what I have been doing for the last few years, I think the evolution of the role of the marketing head or a CMO, I think over the last few years, especially after the pandemic and during the pandemic, is also this huge component of pivoting your marketing and business strategy has become very central. And like someone said, there is breaking news every day, so that there are new challenges which are kind of popping out, which make it necessary for you to readjust the way the whole business model and thus the marketing model is designed. Right. So when you are doing those adjustments, and so it's like working or changing the tires while the cars are running kind of stuff. So if you look at, I think if I give an example of one particular aspect, now we, for example, have been in the digital TV business, and most of our it's a subscription business, right? Even now, when we're in the OTT business, that is again a subscription business. So most of our revenues come from managing the customer base and managing their subscriptions and upsell and usage and engagement and all that kind of stuff. And most of our revenues earlier, even though it was a digital TV business, there was a lot of retail component and a physical component to it, where there was distribution involved and people would recharge from retail outlets. So let's say online versus retail used to be, let's say, around 50-50, just before COVID, I would say. So today it is almost 100%, your revenues are coming from digital, or your recharges are happening digitally. Now, if a change like this happens over a period of, let's say, 1.5 years, it is almost, a cataclysmic kind of a change, because and thankfully, companies like us also, who were working on the whole digital transformation piece and all our touch points going digital from much earlier on, it was easy to kind of adjust, because we were in a position where we would say, yeah, we are ready, but why is online only 50%? Right? That's the question we used to ask in 2019. And then, suddenly, what we used to do as marketeers or as business people, we used to have those delta swings in online versus offline every month. And suddenly, this whole change happens, and suddenly you move from 50 to 70 and then to 80 to, and now almost most of your business is coming from that. So the entire way the organization is designed, the way the organization structure is and way all your customer outreach and touch points are, all have to change, right? If you have been readying for it, it's easier. If you've not been readying for it, you've seen that so many other businesses have struggled a lot, and a lot of them have gone out of business, and new disruptive challenges who were very small in 2019 have suddenly become much bigger. So I think that is one example. If I look at my business, is the way consumption of entertainment has also changed. All of us are watching a lot more streaming entertainment versus the traditional televisions. Although India being a big country, and India being a country of the black bicycles also, and the Teslas also. Tesla hasn't come in, but of course you can see the electric cars on the roads today in all the major cities. So India is a country of this and that. It is never about only the electric cars and not the black traditional bicycles. Both will be there. So that's the, in terms of the evolution of the CMO, the marketing head, that you have to kind of cater to all these adjustments. And if you're a mass brand, then you have to cater to a lot of segments and not be, very, very focused on only, let's say, I'm operating only in the premium segment, or I'm operating only in the bottom of the pyramid. It's not like that. For a mass brand like us, these changes, tectonic changes happening across all segments. So suddenly you have to adjust, all your dials, so I think that's the evolution which we've all gone through.
Absolutely with you. Yeah, very true.
I think I totally agree with Sukhpreet and Suyash as well. I mean, I recollect now he's telling about online and offline. I don't even remember now that distinction, right? When I started my career, we used to call it as an online marketing and then digital
Right.
marketing.
Right.
I don't know what it means now, the digital marketing or anything. It's all encompassing marketing as such. So it's online, offline. At the end of the day, that is where the industry is. That is where how much of technology and the business landscape is involved, not just in the consumer side, on the retail side, but on the B2B segment as well. So we don't really now look into the marketing plans as online and offline or digital or off thing. It's at the end of the day, what's the impact that you're doing to the customer? What is the value that you're bringing to your business? And what is the net results that you're showcasing there? And I think as a marketing team, as a marketing leader, so that you're driving the business, and if you want to be on the seat and get a seat on the table there, you no longer going to talk as budget-driven, outcome efforts. At the end of the day, it is all about how are you actually adding value to the business, and that's the mindset that has changed. I've seen it myself in the last couple of years that has changed. We went traditionally, marketeers used to go back and say, okay, here's the budget, here's what the couple of plans and programs that we want to do, and then we obviously not going to get as the money that we ask, but whatever we get, we'll do with it. But if you really want to do and add more business, the only way that you can actually drive and be part of those conversations is to actually show that value, right? At the end of the day, you have to be treated as a value creator, as a business impactor, or somebody who's actually be a change driver with the businesses that you do that. And that's the only way marketing will actually get the due respect, and it is actually changing there. At the end of the day, that's how businesses are changing, and it's the marketeer's mindset and the lens that has much more larger focus view in terms of across the business segments, more than a couple of other segments that are there. So you're in much more prime viewpoint in terms of actually understanding the business, understanding the consumer, understanding the technology, understanding the behaviors, and that's how actually you bring it back to the table and say, here is where I will try and do some interventions that will actually add value to your customer, whether it's on the retail side, whether it's on the business side. But at the end of the day, that's how I was saying. I think over the years, I've seen personally so much of changes as a marketing mindset and the role. It's going to be getting more interesting for sure with the technologies that are coming there. And it can get a lot of more redundancies as well in what we've been doing. And we've seen that how that is coming. I don't want to talk about the new AI technologies that are coming there. That's really eating into some of the spaces that we safeguarded ourselves and say that, okay, this is the marketing domain, this is what we do. But some of those really getting automated, and AI is going to drive that. The question now is going to say, how are you going to reinvent yourself? And now you're much more equipped to drive some of those new technologies and leverage those tools to better business impact. No longer as a marketeer that I'm going to be a role playing there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, the need to prove oneself, right, or to prove the credibility of your team, right, that yes, we are adding value, right, and this is what we accomplished, this is how it affected the top line, and so on and so forth. That has always been there, right? But then with the challenges, you never know. There's a wave which is coming wherein people say, oh, a lot many people are leaving, so there's a mass resignation happening, and suddenly mass layoffs are happening. So
and there is silent hiring also that is happening.
And there's silent hiring also. Yeah. So Pramod, coming back to the same pointer, but then with a slight twist, how the marketing head should prepare himself or herself for the future. In case you can share some pointers,
I wish I had a straitjacket answer for this, and then I would be a bestseller in terms of what I want to do that.
Yeah,
but I said at the end of the day, which is what you got to do, that I think the learning curve should be there, that the desire, that hunger to be open-minded in terms of for the change that's going to come there. I think irrespective of the technology or the domain or the business that you're there. I think as a first trait that you want to be is like any business or any individual, and more so for the marketing, if you want to be more relevant and not only being relevant, but actually, as I said, keep adding value to the business, you got to be the head of curve. And that's only way is trying to have that mindset of learning ability. And I keep telling this, because at the end of the day, if you're not being open to what are the changes that are coming, embracing the new things that are coming up, and that's only way to do is to be constantly in touch with the industry, with the business, with the consumer. You are at the end of the day to the brand what you want to really make an impact to the consumer or the customer or the business segment that there. You got to find out what are the traits, what are the artifacts, what are those segments that are getting really impacted to the consumer. When you are aware of some of those segments, of those touch points that are really going to impact your business or your customer, that's the first wave of change that you want to set the expectation that's coming there. Now, as I said, the only way to prepare yourself for the future is to try and see what is that there. And for me, and I've been in the industry, for the IT industry for several years. For us, this technology is the backbone for a lot of these businesses. If technology changes, as the technology has an impact, it has impact on my customer, on my business. And I got to be aware of what's happening on the industry side, on the technology side, irrespective of which industry, which vertical, or you're there. Today, you can't even say that, I'm in healthcare business or in the retail business or any of this thing. At the end of the day, technology is transferred across all the segments there. So be aware of the changes that are coming up in the technology side. And obviously, as a marketer, as always, you got to be constantly aware on the business landscape, right? At the end of the day, how our business is getting affected, how is the technology actually impacting some of those business models. If you don't really are in sync in some of these changes that are there, you will probably not even know what's happening there as a business that's going to survive. And the next question that you would ask is, me as a marketer, how am I making myself relevant in the changing business models? Forget about changing marketing environment. But it's the way you have to keep looking at it is not saying that, how do I add value as a marketer, but as I said, how do I add value to the business as an impact? And the roles are so changing. Today you're called CMO, tomorrow you're called CDO, or tomorrow you can be called Chief Experience Officer. At the end of the day, it's all about how you're actually adding value to the business, to the consumer, and what is that net difference that you're bringing there. So I would even don't want to make a wild guess in terms of what the future looks like. For all you know, we may not be even called as a marketeers, and maybe that will be a dreaded word to use as well. You would be called as more of a customer officer or a experience officer, as a digital officer, and that's actually is all happening now. Some of the roles are also not there. Some of these things in many of the brands, in many of the organizations that you see across the globe. There's nothing called a marketing role anyway in that sense. It's all about what are you marketing? You're marketing to the consumer. So are you a consumer officer? Are you the experience officer? And some of those are getting deeply ingrained into the roles and the businesses that we're going to do. To answer your question, I wish I had a straight answer of 5 points to do what you want to do, prepare for future. But I think my only take is be constantly alert, aware of what's happening on the business side, on the technology side, and then keep asking the same question. What is that some of these changes in the business and technology are impacting my customer and the consumer and the business that I'm in, and be prepared to see how you are actually adding a role or a value to that. And that's where your relevance will come in whichever capacity you're there, either as a CMO or whichever CXO titles that you will take it forward.
Yeah, I agree. Both inside out and as well as outside in view points should be considered. Understanding your business, dynamics, your customer needs, as well as what's happening in the market. So, coming to, I'm slightly changing the track, okay, and making the discussion a little bit lighter. So, how do you start your day? That was the topic, right? That a typical day in the life of marketing head. So how do you start your day? Let's say from morning till 11 a.m. sort of thing.
Oh, I wish I had, I was disciplined enough to have a typical day. So I don't do the same things every day. I think I do wake up with different, agendas or worries every day. So yes, I always want to start off my day in a very positive manner and get some workout and, catch up on some very interesting stuff. But that doesn't normally happen. But yes, I'm getting to do more of regular workouts these days. So that's a typical start of the day. But if I cut out what I do before I kind of get to work to more when it is to get to work, I think there would absolutely be no typical day in the life of whether you say marketing.
So that's true. So I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I'm interrupting you,
marketing
right?
person or a finance person or a digital any leadership role, there would never be a typical day because the challenges kind of keep shifting. But I think one thing which would be common amongst all days would be that there would be a chief problem to be solved today. The one big problem to be solved today. I wouldn't call them fires because fires are more accidental and then you end up engaging yourself to douse them. So these are not fires. These are typically the problems that you identify and you have to kind of get over them in order to kind of, keep in the game. So there are these the chief problems of the day, I would say. Some of them are more proactive. So you identify those problems and you have to kind of, those are in opportunities in a way that, I've identified this opportunity. In order to kind of tap into this opportunity, I'll have to kind of do this. I have to push it through the organization. This is, an idea which can work for us. Or it could be a roadblock that you've encountered. So you're kind of readying yourself to kind of get over that. Or it is some inspiration, I would say that, let me say that maybe I met Pramod or Suyash at a get together and, I suddenly come across something that they have, seen happening in the industry or with the competition. And, I wasn't kind of aware of. So it's a kind of a moment of enlightenment. And then next morning, you kind of rush to office to say that, like, how can I kind of also implement something similar? So there are different challenges every day, I would say. I would not have a typical day. I don't think I've ever had a typical day. Thankfully, I never had a job where it was a typical day. Otherwise, that would be quite boring, I guess. So I think that's what it is. I think it's more and more becoming about the chief opportunity or the chief problem that you're going to overcome today.
So do you keep a journal? Do you keep a to-do list which you check in the morning, or you check the first thing, which is your mails or WhatsApp while still getting out of the bed?
I have tried many times. I just can't do that. So I think I'm a failure on keeping journals or a to-do list, or even I love downloading apps which kind of supposedly help you to do that. So you feel good when you download them, and then you use it for a day or two. So I think that's good enough. So I think if I could download an app every 2 days, I would feel good every 2 days. But in my case, it doesn't really help. Maybe I'm very, very indisciplined in that way, or maybe the whole energy of different things coming your way, it keeps you away from really sticking to a list of things to do. So I would say yes. And I am a big believer in the whole big rocks kind of theory. So if you have this one big thing that you can accomplish, all the other smaller things, whether they're on your list or not on your list, they will happen. And if they don't happen, they won't really matter also. So just my way of doing things would be to focus on those big rocks, get them out of your way, or to solve them or use them, leverage them as an opportunity. The rest of the small things, if they happen, great. If they don't happen, they don't really matter.
Sure. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Great. Suyash, coming to you.
I won't like, so just like you had a disclaimer in the end. So disclaimer, this doesn't really work. Not for everyone, doesn't really work for me also.
Sure. So Suyash, nobody has a typical day, right? Unless
I have
a very straight jacketed job, right? So
no, I have a very
leaders,
typical day.
As leaders, it all becomes very. You have to be flexible, dynamic, blah 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 blah. So go ahead, Suyash. And what do you do? What keeps you busy during the day, Suyash?
I'll tell you, my day starts at 6 a.m. come what may. I mean, I sleep, usually try and sleep by 12, by midnight, so that I can get 6 hours of sleep at least. But whatever time I sleep, I have to get up at 6 because my kid has to go to school, and my daughter is closer to me. So she would want me to wake her up. So I have to get her ready. So right from waking her up to getting her ready, everything I do. I try even combing her hair. I fail miserably, but at least I comb her hair. So that is what I do. So once she goes, and then, that is when my time starts. Every alternate day, I hit the gym, push myself to hit it. And then the sad part is that right after the gym, I tend to have very heavy breakfast, right down under the gym. There are a lot of places to eat. So that is the time when I take to think. For me, because I'm in a different setup than Sukhpreet, so my day is a little different. And Pramod would most likely resonate with it. Is that I have different team members. So I would have someone looking at the enterprise sales, enterprise marketing, partner marketing, which is a reseller marketing, and then I have my sales team. So for me as a marketer, what is important is that I align myself with the sales team. Why? Because not to get any tick marks on the CRM saying that this is a marketing driven lead, but to add value to them. The moment I add value to them, I become their extended team member. Right? The moment I give them some insight which they are not aware of is when they start seeing value in me. And that is how, marketing would stay relevant in the eyes of sales. So my, the way I divide my day is that, not divide my day, divide my work is that, okay, in the enterprise sales, and let's say in a different region, and the reason I sleep late is because of the time zone differences. I have to speak with different people. So I would say, okay, in Europe, I need to do this, and Middle East, I need to do this, and, maybe APAC, I need to do something else. Okay, this is enterprise, this is in partner marketing. I need to check what is happening, what is not happening. So these are run-of-the-mill things, right? I have to launch this campaign, figure out what is the outcome of anything else, maybe answer a couple of questions. My ask to someone else would be this, to the board, what do I need in terms of help? What are the things that I may have missed and I have to find an excuse? So cover up for my team members. So stuff like that. And then, there are other things, someone would just come up to me and say, look, I'm feeling demotivated. So suddenly you are in the midst of, running everything and you're like, okay, let me take a pause, understand what is happening. So that is how my day goes typically. I try and have a conversation with my team members, at least once a week on a personal one-to-one level. That is if they entertain me. Otherwise, they could just say that I'm busy. Let's catch up next week. So that portion is free. In the night, I try and read. I bought a couple of books by Khalil Gibran. So I was reading the Little Book of Success, which got replaced by Famous Five because my daughter wanted me to read this to her every night. So that time is also taken away now. That is how my usual week would go.
Great. And I really like your, spending time with the team and all. So great. Thank you so much. I'm sure many marketers.
I must say that Suyash is leading the ideal day, and we need to take some tips from him. Eh?
Absolutely, that's what I was saying. That perhaps many marketers.
I got to take tips from both Suyash and Sukhpreet. They seem to have a very perfect lifestyles in many of those things. I wish I can spend so much time with my daughter. My daughter is almost in the teens, so she doesn't give that much time to me. So even if I ask for it, but I have a classic. I am a light sleeper. So I have a problem with sleep. So the way I do it, and many of my people also complain, I'm up by 3:34, which is very weird and unusual, even if I take a late night calls. So, which is good for me. I mean, this is a disease that I've been born or lived with all through the years of my life, but I've now taken it to my task. So I'm up so early in the morning. I finish up, first of all my social media, WhatsApp messages, tweets and all. Second, by the time even people come to the laptops, I'm done with my mail. So my team doesn't really feel that this is a mail that has come in last night at 12 o'clock from US, and by the time I would have responded to that, and they're supposed to act on that previous mail and then my email as well. So it's a bad thing for them, but that makes me a little productive, honestly speaking. As I said, I don't get up by design or by choice or by alarm. I just can't sleep, so I get up. So people who know that who sleep light, they'll get restless. So the only thing that you'll start doing is tinker into your laptop and get things done. That's out of the way, and that gives you a little heads up. By the time my day starts, I'm more or less controlled in terms of what happened last night. And as I said, so you can relate this. I work with multiple teams across global offices, and all you need to do is get those things at least done in and told what needs to be done for your day. But otherwise, I would have lost a lot of time in terms of taking stock of things and not just acting on that. But otherwise, I wish I can say I have all those lovely, attributes of going to the gym or running or things and apps and efficiency tools. I'm sorry, I, I'm a very, I'm very conscious eater. That's what I take care of things. I consume little less than what I should be eating, and I'm very mindful of my eating. Otherwise, I'm not much of a gym goer. I've never subscribed to so many, but I've never attended. I've done like Sukhpreet. I have a lot of apps that I've downloaded. Every time the new thing that comes, more from habit of actually exploring and checking out what is there. Eventually, after third day, it doesn't work for me. I will anyway have my own routine to do that. And I don't honestly. I mean, this is not the best prescription or that you know what. I don't know what is work-life balance in that sense. I am the kind of a guy who will get uneasy if I don't take my phone or a laptop even for a holiday. Honestly speaking, I will enjoy my holiday better if I do that, because by the time I finish, my family wakes up, I'm done with my work, and I can really have a peaceful time. Otherwise, I am one of the guys who get a little restless, both at work if I don't enjoy my life, and at holiday if I don't do a little bit of work. So it's a very, very unusual, unconventional. Please don't prescribe to anybody, and neither am I glorifying myself for what I do. But that is how different I am, and that's a tragedy of my life and some of the things that my team and family go with as well.
I maintain a journal though, and my team recently gave me a diary which said, my old team, sorry, gave me a diary which said "Evil Plan and Stuff." The title of the diary is, and they've given me this diary because otherwise I will forget, and it becomes a very embarrassing situation in the weekly meetings where you being asked something and you got no idea what happened in the last 1 week. I tend to forget things. That is on me. And I think one really. I think it's a blessing for me is that I can sleep at will. So like you are light sleeper, I can just, the moment I'll step into the car and if I'm being driven, I will just take my nap. So that is the thing that keeps me alive, actually.
Great. I'm so glad that, coincidentally, we have very different personalities on the call today. So wrapping up, last round of question. Sukhpreet, any inputs or thoughts you wish to share with the wannabes marketing heads? Okay, how to prepare themselves, how to be more effective, more efficient, whatever.
One thing I would say is, and which I generally do tell people in my team also, there is a tendency which is happening more and more nowadays is to bracket yourself too tightly into your area of expertise, whether it is marketing or even within marketing, so I have seen people, really believe that they are only Marcom people, or they are only digital marketing people, or they are only brand people, or they are only customer management people. I don't think that's a good thing at all. So I personally feel my way of looking at it, if I was kind of in that stage of professional life, would be that I am heading the business, okay, whatever business I'm part of, or like in the case of, I actually envy all of you three guys, because you work in IT sales, where you're providing solutions to various businesses, so you have to understand their businesses as well, so you have to really think of how that business can succeed using your solution. So I would say that kind of a mindset is great when you say that, look, I am I am a professional who can help provide business solutions. I am doing that in a particular sphere of marketing today. That would broaden itself. I would be doing the entire gamut of marketing today, entire gamut of sales and marketing and customer touch points tomorrow, and maybe heading the business or heading the organization in the end. So unless you have that kind of a outlook, you would be really limiting yourself. So that's what I find a little bit unusual amongst many of the the people who are kind of going through this cycle, is that they see themselves as expert, how can somebody be, and I'm really talking out from a brand side. Of course, if you're on an agency side or on a solution provider side, it might be different. But if you're on the business side, on the brand side, then you cannot be an SEM expert. You're not going to be SEM expert all your life, right? So you have to think that what I'm doing today is helping to grow the business by doing what I'm doing today, but I'm going to expand that, and I'm going to learn much more, and I'm going to grow myself so that I can help the business grow, and then really look at it in all its entirety. That's what I would feel. Otherwise, of course, there are the usual things of keep on learning, keep on acquiring more skills, sharpening your saw. Of course, unless you do that, that's really important. But and what does it lead to? It leads to you growing and then expanding, and then taking on a much more broader role, and not just being a very specialized marketing person.
Sure. Makes sense. Thank you, Sukhpreet. Suyash, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I would, my big advice, couple of them would be, people would be that, yes, like Sukhpreet said, sharpen your saw. Be aware of what is happening in your market. Be aware of what is happening outside your market, which is even more important. You should know what is happening in the world. Second is be on top of your numbers. Even if someone wakes you up in your sleep, you should know what is happening in your function, right? If you're not aware of what is happening in your function, if you're not aware of what is happening in the sales function in terms of number, then you are missing something major, right? Third would be, I would say, be ready as a CMO, as a intern also, and to somewhere who's in between. Be ready for those difficult conversations, yeah, and get used to them, because they are going to happen more often than you would like it. And if you are uncomfortable, then you are going to land in trouble.
True.
And this can only happen if you are aware of what is happening. If you're on top of your numbers, hit or miss is something different. But you should know the reasons why you are hitting your number, why you're missing. So that is one part of it. And third would be, I would say, or third or fourth, whatever it is, it should be that, be prepared for a longer plan and for a short-term plan. Right? As a marketer, you're supposed to, get small little wins every now and then. But what's the big picture? Big picture is something that, smaller picture is something that your immediate stakeholders would be concerned with. The big picture would be the leadership that would be concerned with. And the moment you can give both and correlate them, then, things will happen your way. Then whatever you ask is what you will get.
Sure.
Pramod?
Makes sense. Yeah.
No, I think I totally agree with Sukhpreet and Suyash, but for me, I have a more simplistic way of putting these things. And I think this is my CMO also keeps telling that, you got to be a great storyteller. And I think this is also I stressed on the talk yesterday. I was with the students. There are only two broad segment of roles that you want to do eventually in life going forward. This is what I see. There's this huge data engine and data insights and data analysis that will happen. So you got to be in one spectrum of future of you're a data scientist in one. The other spectrum is more on the storytelling part of it. There are only two broad roles in life I would see as you go over it. Marketing is something of a storyteller kind of a thing. At the end of the day, what are we doing? We are marketing. You're telling stories. You're telling about people, telling about brands, talking about the products and services. Now the tools and the technologies will always evolve. There's no way that you can get certification now and say that, okay, I am certified, digitally certified, program certified. It doesn't really make a difference much, because all that will be redundant with the change of technology that's happening there. But at the core, you got to be telling a great story. You got to be very smart in terms of grasping what is that essence is there and how do I communicate that. And once you get that feel of it, it's about leveraging the underlying tools, techniques, technologies, platforms that you'll eventually anyway will run through on your way. So for somebody who's aspiring to be in the marketing as a marketing career, try and see how you can be a great storyteller. And as a great storyteller, you got to know what the story is. How do I present this ideas better? How do I tell this more excitingly? How do I make the other person get excited and be inquisitive about what you want to hear and do that? And don't bother too much on what's happening in the changes of the platforms and the technologies and the tools. There's no way that you're going to be anywhere abreast with latest. There's a new one every day that's going to come. but at the core, you got to be a strong communicator in terms of how do I tell those stories? How do I convey and relay, whether it's my brand, whether it's my products, whether it's my services, to the audience that matters, and make it very interesting and exciting. That's how it is all about, right? Because there's so much of cacophony of noise that happens in the world out there. Who's going to be listening to you? Somebody who's got a better story than somebody who's going to talk to much detail about your product or service, which I can obviously listen to some other time. I may not even give you attention to that. But as a marketer, your first job is to get that message across, and storytelling should be your first attribute that you got to develop. Sorry for a long answer for maybe a quick question, but I think that's how I prescribe to it, as people want to see marketeers as they want to grow as a marketeers.
Appreciate that. Yeah. So one, perhaps I can add my thoughts here as to this question, at least. One recommendation which I give to my team, or have been giving to my team, is just be on the lookout as to what is a differentiator that you bring on the table, right? If you have identified it correctly, 80% or 90% of the task is done. Enabling that differentiator is a cakewalk, right? How do you differentiate yourself from rest of the team members, and how do you differentiate your unit from rest of the unit, right? So, and that's what sets you apart. That's what makes you, sparkle slightly different than rest of the gems that are sparkling, right? So, well, with this, we come to the end of the discussion. It has been a fantastic, discussion with Sukhpreet, Suyash, and Pramod. It was indeed a learning for me, and I hope it was equally enriching for you. I thank you once again, Sukhpreet, Suyash, and Pramod, for joining us today and sharing the insights with us. Guys, whoever is watching us, you can watch the past Marketing Mondays sessions on www.cxotv.news. Keep watching for more interesting upcoming sessions under Marketing Mondays. I wish you all the success and a great week ahead. Stay safe, take care. Cheers and bye.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.